The post-game show and a game. It's Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, by the way. How are you? Hope everybody had a great night. Um, um, that game to me, Brian, may have been their best, most solid, across the board, all player performance of the season. Is that too much of a stretch of a statement? Where you
No,
come in on this?
I don't think that's too much of a stretch at all. Again, consider where you're at. The fact that hey, I know it's a little easier from this regard, but they start their break. Um, they're not at home. Home games like Winnipeg's in trouble against St. Louis on Monday because
Yeah.
home games before long breaks like that are just the worst because everybody's got one foot into their break
Yep.
and their minds on other things.
They're worried
Um,
about their flight tomorrow.
well, I mean, God, we've had situations right where these teams are in Philly before these breaks, and you got guys who have private jets waiting for them at the airport after the game
Yeah.
to go to Cancun or wherever.
Fully catered, the whole thing, right?
Flyers are flying home tomorrow, so they didn't necessarily have that to deal with. But again, regardless of the circumstances surrounding this whole thing, you go into this building, which is very difficult to play in. It's a small building. Everybody's on top. Everybody's nuts. But the Flyers kept that from happening tonight. And, I certainly didn't have them chasing Connor Hellebuck on my bingo card. I mean, my goodness, that
No.
was not what I thought we would see tonight. I thought they might be able to ek out a win. I thought it would be, one of those tooth and nail type deals. But, they just took every inch of wind out of Winnipeg's sails here, and it gets them an opportunity now to feel real good about themselves going into this long break.
Yeah, I mean, the crazy part about this is a team sport, and the expected goals model in the game had Winnipeg with a slight edge, 3.96 expected goals to the Flyers, 3.41, and both teams. That's after the game, and you get some really, really timely saves. That's the expected goals based on shot quality, but you get timely saves from Carter Hart and big saves. And they didn't get near, Winnipeg with their Vezina winner and Connor Hellebuck, and he's having a great season. Didn't get that kind of level performance from him tonight, but the Flyers just poured it on him. I thought they were relentless in the game. And there's a couple guys I want to give credit to before we get to the BetRivers.com highlight reel. And one of them was the guy that you just heard Tim and Coatsy talk to, and that's Rasmus Ristolainen. He had a couple points in the game. He's had a couple of games lately where he's had multiple points. And it has not come at any cost with his defensive play. He hasn't, shaded to get a little offense by shirking some defensive duty. I thought he was excellent in the game again tonight. And not only that, but, he ends up with 2 primary assists in the game, one on the Kiefer Bellows goal in the second period, and another one on the Owen Tippett goal, which is a big goal in the third period. To get that third goal and not give them any life, I thought he was excellent in the game again tonight, and a big reason why they win it. And not to mention, obviously, the 40 saves on 40 shots from Carter Hart.
So coming into this game tonight, his last 6, 2 goals and 3 assists, 5 points, and was a +4. That's coming in tonight. He's got 2 more assists tonight and a +2. So he's going to go into this break with 2 goals, 5 assists, and +6 in the last 7 games leading up to it. So that's a pretty good body of work for him. We've been talking all season about why isn't he contributing points and stuff. This is a guy that's had close to 60-point seasons or whatever in the past, and it just seems like it's starting to click for him. This again coming in here last year. New coaching staff, everything like that. They were trying to get him to do certain things, and then that coaching staff didn't last, and he comes into basically, now this year, his 3rd coaching staff, if you want to just change the way everybody was used last year at the coaching change. So, it's taken him some time to get adjusted here, but hopefully he is, and hopefully when we come back out of this break, he'll be playing the same way that he has been the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll be looking for TK to come back and get back on track a little bit too. But that's the other thing. They score 4 goals in this game, and Travis Konecny doesn't have a point. Right. And that's it, that's a good sign. Yeah, it's a good sign. Flyers over the last 10 games, Brian, I like to break it up in these chunks: 5, 3, and 2. They've scored 28 goals. They've given up 29, but still the record of 5, 3, and 2. And you got a team now, since the holiday break, they returned from the holiday break in San Jose back on the 29th, was it? Let me look here real quick. Yeah, the 29th after against San Jose, they get that 4-3 overtime win. And that's on that road trip where they go out and they beat San Jose, they beat the Kings, and they beat Anaheim. Since then, 13, 14, 15 games total. They have a record of 9-4-2, 48 goals for, 43 allowed. And they're a team right now that's playing not only just good hockey, but pretty consistent hockey at this point.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. It's just the consistency. The Flyers coming into this season, first 6 weeks they were all over the map. You didn't know for sure what was going to happen. They went through that stretch where they were winning a lot of games but giving up just tons of scoring chances in the 70s. And then you've got their shot attempts within the 70s, I should say. 70 scoring chances would be a lot. And then you had the games where they weren't giving up anything, but they also weren't scoring. And now they seem to, when you're going into Christmas, it felt like they were doing one or the other on any given night.
Yeah.
Coming out of break, they went to California, had a great trip. And, again, with the exception of a couple of eggs that were laid, which is going to happen to any team, they have been very, very consistent since that San Jose game that you mentioned. It has been exactly, I think, what everybody wanted to see. And, you just have to build on it here for the rest of the year. They keep creeping up to that 6 points out of a playoff spot number. And, I'm not sitting here saying they're going to get up in there, but, it depends on, they're going to need a lot of help. But, just for them to be where they're at is a good testament to what's going on with this group and this coaching staff. And I know it is far away from the Connor Bedard territory that everybody talks about, but I think it's better to be going that way. And then they're going to change things up and add on to this group, and it could be a pretty quick turn if this continues.
And they're playing with identity. That's the thing. There's been one thing that's been consistent all year through injuries, through different roster configurations, and then 17 straight games with the same lineup and same line combinations and pairings. There's been one thing that has been consistent through all of it, through the 51 games so far, and that has been, that identity and standard and resilience. That's been there. And you lose 6-0 to Boston. That happens in an 82-game season. You lose 5-2, to a team like Toronto. And they were outclassed in those games. But let's get to the BetRivers.com highlight reel. Let's start out in the first period with the game-winning goal. Yeah, 15-15 in the first period. First goal of the game. It turns out to be the game winner. Who knew at the time? But it's Noah Cates who picks up his 8th goal of the season. Yeah, Noah Cates right in the right spot. Oh, you can tell he's a son of a coach. You're a son of a coach. Frost and Tippett with the assists, and Flyers go up 1-0. Let's pick it up in the second period. He's been out of the lineup for close to a month. Kiefer Bellows draws in with the injury to Zach McEwen and Wade Allison. And at 11:53 of the second period, how about his first goal as a Flyer? Yeah, got another great goal there for Kiefer Bellows. He gets on the board as a Flyer, and the Flyers go up 2-0. That's a big goal, too, for the Flyers.
It really is. I mean, that kind of starts to change the trajectory of the game. And as much as the third goal in the third period was kind of the nail in the coffin, I mean, that right there is a big difference in what you're dealing with at that particular time. 1-0 lead against a team like Winnipeg that can just turn it on at any point, and you don't know how many goals you're going to be able to get past a guy like Connor Hellebuck for them to to get that goal, just past the halfway point of the game, that was huge in terms of kind of setting the stage for how the rest of this was going to go.
Yeah, no question. And you go into the third period up 2, and they build on their lead third. And this is one of the elements of the game that I like the most is you're in an away barn. We said that Rick Bowness was going to hook them up to the jumper cables. They may be hooked up to the jumper cables still right now post-game. Him to wake his team up. But the Flyers come out in the third, and then 3:11 in, they get the goal to make it 3-0. How about Owen Tippett? Already got an apple in the game. How about a goal? His 14th. Yeah, big goal there to not let them up off the mat. Ristolainen and York with the assist. Ristolainen, second point of the game. Noah Cates picked up his second point of the game in that second period, by the way, on an assist on the Kiefer Bellows goal. And the Flyers build on the lead. Final goal of the game comes at 6:48 of the third period, and it's Tony DeAngelo, his 9th. Yeah, 4-0. That's your final. Scott Lawton picks up the assist on the DeAngelo goal. Multi-point performances from Ristolainen, from Noah Cates, and Owen Tippett. The young core getting the job done again. And speaking of young core, Bry, 40 saves on 40 shots for Carter Hart, his 4th shutout of his career and 1st this season.
21 games now Carter has won when making 38 saves or more. That was his 21st win under the circumstances. He's now 21-3-5 in his career when facing 38 or more shots. He just kind of gets dialed in and
give me that number again.
21-3-5.
21-3-5 on 38 or more shots.
8 or more shots. Yeah, it's and again, tonight was not a night where he was making highlight reel saves necessarily. He was just very calm, very collected. He was fundamentally sound, and he got a little bit of help from a crossbar here and there. But who doesn't, right?
Yep.
Given. So I mean, it's just again, he is he's there, he's established, and all he's doing, I think, at this point is waiting for the Flyers to solidify and improve what is in front of him. And as they go through this trade deadline here, I mean, they're going to do so with the goaltending situation more than taken care of, especially when you consider how Sam Harrison has looked when he's been up here. He is in Lehigh Valley now, but the off season will come, and things might change up, and we'll see where it goes. But again, that's the least of the Flyers' worries at this point.
And Hart he's played well in different kind of situations where he's got different aspects. Tonight, to me, his game was all about play reading. He seemed like he was a step ahead at all times. Sometimes that's not the case, and you have to be more dynamic or athletic, or it's more of a compete night. Tonight, to me, he looked like he was reading plays beautifully because the structure was good and he was waiting on pucks. He made a save early in the third period, and I just watched the way he snapped back up to his feet. And, I mean, he was down, paddle down, waiting on the puck, and it was delivered exactly where he thought it was going to come, made the save, defense cleared it. He popped back up like he had, like a kangaroo. Some nights it's like that, and tonight was that night because he could trust his environment, and I thought that's really important.
When the defense has the structure that John Tortorella and Brad Shaw are trying to build, it makes the goaltender's job easier. You don't get these high danger scoring chances as much. You don't get 2-on-1s. You don't get guys standing right at the left of the net wide open like Mark Scheifele did a week ago. The structure is there. All the goaltender has to do is rely on his fundamentals and his own structure. And those two things go together, and then makes it very difficult to score on any team. So, that's when those two things are on, Flyers are going to win a heck of a lot more games than they lose. That's for sure. And, if they, that's the foundational stuff, right? That John Tortorella was talking about, the
Yep.
footers, that. And now once that's in place, now you just figure out a way to get the offense scoring a ton of goals, and all of a sudden you got a dangerous team here. So, again, it's going to be about what they might be able to add at the deadline, and what happens moving forward in terms of some of that high-level talent, some of that skill that John Tortorella talks about that this team needs. What will come from the Phantoms? What will come from, I don't know, Boston College maybe? What's going to come
having an
their way.
unbelievable year, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely is.
He's
So
been really good.
base.
Yeah, he's been really good. We might be talking about Hobie Baker stuff with him all said and done. He's got some really good numbers. So, and he's got one hell of a release. Boy, he can snap it. And we're talking about Cutter Gauthier, of course. Let's take our time out here on the post-game show. Brian Smith, Jason Martinez, Flyers get a 4-0 win on the road in Winnipeg. Carter Hart, a 40-save shutout. We're back after this on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. Flyers get a 4-0 win over the Winnipeg Jets in Winnipeg. They wrap up their before All-Star break portion of the schedule. Still a lot of games left to be played this season, a lot to be proven, and a lot of data to be gathered. But they grab a very impressive win over Winnipeg in this game, and it certainly looked to me like that might have been their most complete game of the season. And you did it with 11 forwards and 7 D, Bri. It's a little unbalanced and quirky, but it worked.
It did work, and obviously you don't want to do this all the time, but I'm impressed at how effectively it worked. We were talking about what tends to happen in these circumstances, and usually, like the 7th D doesn't get hardly any time, and those lower two forwards. Usually you roll the top nine. Well, that didn't happen tonight. Justin Braun played 11-16, which is not a huge number for a defenseman, but it's a pretty big number for a seventh defenseman. The Flyers' approach to this was to basically leave the wingers intact and rotate the centers through. And as a result, everybody got a pretty even game, as it turned out. The fourth liners, Kiefer Bellows played 12:31, Nick Delorier 13:06, and Patrick Brown, who was on that third line on the wing, 13:15, a minute more than James Van Riemsdyk, if you can believe it. So
Yeah.
just and that's on fewer shifts. I mean, again, there's some penalty killing involved in there that caused that, but they were definitely able to handle it well, and you see kind of the evidence on the the timeline for the center. Scott Lawton played almost 22 minutes in this game. Noah Cates 18:05. So the centers, Morgan Frost 17:14. They were definitely out there quite a bit, and just a real effective way that the Flyers did it here tonight. I don't know if there's anything to that, but I don't know if it's something you would ever try to do on purpose. But if it makes you more difficult to play against, maybe, I don't know. Just in terms of matching lines and stuff like that. But they handled the situation very, very well.
They finished last year with 61 points in the standings, 25 wins. Right now, they have 21 wins and 51 points in 51 games. I mean, you've got 31 games left. There's a lot of runway left here. They're going to seemingly far exceed what they did a year ago. So certainly a step in the right direction, without doubt. So they won't be back, Bry. Oh, let me bring up the Flyer schedule because we don't play Winnipeg on Monday. And I had the Jet schedule up there. But they won't be back now. It'll be the month of February, and they will be back for this 4-game homestand on February 6th. That's a Monday. And they actually play Monday, and then don't play again until Thursday. Dare I say practice time?
Yeah.
Right.
And I can't say for sure I know when the break ends. The All-Star game is the 4th, right? It's Friday night is the skills.
They'll practice on Sunday.
So I believe they can bring them back in for practice on the 5th. I don't know. Again, CBA stuff and all that.
They may even be able to practice on the 4th, the guys that aren't going.
I don't know what the rules are, but at any rate, they could get a skate in before the Islanders game. And then, yes, they've got the 2 days in between Islanders and Edmonton. And then, they play every other day like normal. They have a back-to-back on the 11th and 12th. But then 2 days off ahead of a travel day to the West Coast. There'll be a travel day. They're off the 13th and the 14th. So, again, they could have some opportunity to work on some things. And, again, they're coming back from the West Coast into their next 2-day break. They'll fly on the 22nd, off on the 23rd, play on the 24th. But they have a back-to-back at the end of the month, Montreal and New Jersey. And after that back-to-back, they have 3 days off at the end of February. So and then they play once, and they got 3 more days off at the start of March. So this schedule is going to lighten up for them a little bit. They just played 9 and 15. They had that horrific schedule going into the holiday break, or the holiday trip, I should say. But they've got quite a few opportunities coming up here in the next 7 weeks where they're going to have some more space between games, and who knows what's happening at that point. We'll see if they can't use that to keep things going in the right direction.
Yeah, no doubt. Very interesting. All right, let's wrap things up. Let's get out of here. Let's get to our break. Let's get to our catered jet, our private jet that's going to take me back to the rink in 10 minutes for my son's game, which is going on right now. For the second time today. Then we'll be bright and early at a rink up in the Northeast tomorrow morning. So it never ends.
Season, right?
Yeah. There's no place I'd rather be, and that's actually the truth. So
I have to go to back-to-back games tomorrow in the middle of the Eagles game. So when we didn't have the TV. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Best of luck to the Eagles tomorrow to punch a ticket to the Super Bowl. Go Birds for sure. Let's thank a few people before we get out. Let's start with Mike Vito, our in-studio engineer. Matt Menarek, I didn't even have to ask. Matt Menarek was on highlights tonight. I could tell because I can see them all in my email. He likes to send them to me as they happen, which I always appreciate. For Tim Saunders, Steve Coates out in Winnipeg, safe travels home for the boys and the rest of the team. For Brian Smith, I'm Jason Martinez. You've been listening to Philadelphia Flyers Hockey, a 4-0 win over the Winnipeg Jets on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network. Good night, everybody.